Okay, so as I'm workshopping my virtues, values, and vision system and writing my book, I'm realizing that there's another way that we can look at virtues, values, and visions that also has the three-letter acronym, which is power, priorities, and purpose. And I need to just talk through it to workshop it. But my thought is that a lot of times when it comes to making a decision, it comes down to first like figuring out what your power is, right? It's knowing who it is that you are. When you know who it is that you are, when you know that you're good enough, that you're lovable, that what you want is available to you, that you can do hard things, right? When you're connected to that sense of I have free choice, I'm not a victim, I'm a creator, then that allows you to actually move forward and make empowered decisions. A lot of times what happens is people are disempowered. And when you flip this of people trying to like find their purpose versus like, what is my purpose? Do I have purpose? Is there any meaning in life? It's a very like disempowered, wishy-washy, like ungrounded way to go through this world. And then like, how are you supposed to make a decision from that? Like, you're not going to be able to just pick your purpose. Like, that's not how it works. Purpose is not something that you just find. It's something that needs to be felt, and it's something that needs to be expressed. And I was thinking of how your vision is something that gets expressed through you, right? It's like the how. So what we actually want to do is recenter back into your power, right? That you have a brain, you have a body, you have a voice, and you can use those things and alchemize it into your reality. It's really like the magician in tarot, right? When you're connected to all those pieces. Then it's about figuring out your priorities, right? These are going to be the things that you really care about. These are going to be the things that you value, right? And this is where the virtues, values, visions comes in, and the parallels, because your values are going to be what you prioritize. It's how you spend your time, how you spend your energy, how you spend your money, how you spend like just your attention, right? It's going to be what you really care about. This can be a cause, this can be your health, this can be family, this can be like achievement. And this is where there's some nuance that comes in, where things like happiness, things like success are not technically values. I think for an exercise, people can try to put like happiness in there, but I think what people will find is that it won't work, right? Because we're really bad at figuring out what makes us happy, but also like happiness is broken down so much more. So over here we have the 12 qualities of happiness, and these are the things that research has shown that contribute to happiness. So things like optimism, things like love, things like spirituality, things like health, altruism, freedom, productivity, security, perspective, humor, and purpose. These are all things that we can then value. Although me workshopping this, right, is knowing that like love and courage are actually virtues. And things like purpose is something that is not necessarily like something that you can value. You can feel purposeful. And in that way, it's really, again, just knowing about like what you care about and like, what you find meaningful, which would be what the actual value is. I think to me, the priorities and like what you care about, the values of things, is going to be the tangible thing that you can actually see, feel, or otherwise like conceptualize. So, like, you can value your time, for example. And if you value your time, if your priority is like good time management, is productivity, is finding, I don't know another good way to word it, but like using your time well, right? Good time management. That to me is something that you can actually now express your power through, because that allows you to decide. If you were to just say like your priority is love, that doesn't really make any sense to me, right? That's like a feeling within you that is part of your essence, but how are you going to express that love out of you? And that's where this is going to be like what you care about. You can care about your cat, right? Like, I love Cleo. And if I care about Cleo, like that love within me needs to be expressed through her in order for me to like actually see it, right? And that's going to be like how it gets expressed, is like making sure that I'm feeding her, making sure I'm taking her to the vet, if she's sick, right? Giving her her inhaler, like all these things. So that is where now we come into purpose, and purpose is going to be that vision, right? This is going to be the thing that allows you to really feel alive. I have so many people who will come to me and ask, what is my purpose? Or that's what they want to ask the cards, right? Like, what is my purpose? What am I here for? What, like, I want to live a very meaningful, fulfilling life. What is my purpose? That is the worst question to ask if you actually want to figure out what your purpose is. And the reason is because purpose, just like success, just like happiness, is not an end result. It's something that you get as a byproduct of living your truth, of living in integrity with yourself, of finding meaning first and foremost, which is something that no one else can do for you. And trust me, as somebody who is absolutely like suicidally depressed for like half of my life, nobody can give you meaning into something. You have to find it meaningful to you, right? Just like how your parents might find it really meaningful for you to go get like a PhD. This is just me speaking for me. Okay. Like that would be super, super purposeful and meaningful. I'm over here like, I don't know about that, right? Like that doesn't feel resonant to me. I can see meaning in it, sure, but does it resonate with me at this point in time for myself? No, right? Some people can find a lot of purpose and meaning and joy in being a parent. Right now in my life, in this phase, like I can't feel that, right? I can see it maybe in the future for myself, but right now, no, right? So your purpose is not this thing that you ultimately go and fulfill, like there's a end result. That is such a like terrible way to look at it in my view, because that is like the way that a lot of society is just run, right? It's have a goal and let's like work ourselves to get to that goal, but we never actually feel what we want to feel when we get there, because it's like happiness is over there, purpose and fulfillment is over there, right? Joy is over there. What we actually want to do is allow ourselves to continue to connect with our power, our virtues, right? Our soul essence. Then allow us to figure out like what do we actually care about, what are our values, what are our priorities, and then express ourselves through those things and let purpose take care of itself. We are going to feel very purposeful in our lives if we are a barista who is just somebody who's very funny. Like I myself don't consider myself a funny person. I can make people laugh, sure. I like laugh at things myself. Like I can find a lot of humor in things, but my version of humor is quite wholesome or dark humor, right? Or sexual humor. But for the most part, it's very wholesome. I don't like things that like put people down. I'm not good at like quick quips and like witty remarks here and there. I'm not very good at sarcasm. And so there's people though that you just like meet who you know is fucking hilarious. They're so good at just like seeing life in a very like unique lens and making jokes and making remarks that just like get everyone cracking. And so when you could be like a barista and have this personality that is just so humorous, like that is part of your power, that is part of your gifts, that's part of your soul essence, is that you are just here to be this lighthearted person. And because you are that version of you and you prioritize what you care about is like other people, right? You care about maybe your work, right? Maybe like it's not necessarily you have to care about making coffee or making a drink, but you care about the way that you show up around other people, right? You care about other people, and therefore when you are just showing up as you, maybe you make a quippy remark when someone picks up their coffee, maybe you make like a little joke, maybe you like, you know, draw a little smiley face or a funny face on their coffee cup. That is you living your purpose. That is like, you're going to feel so purposeful in that. You're going to feel so fulfilled by that. You're going to find meaning in that. And that's the whole point, right? You don't have to be making like $1 million. You don't have to be impacting like 1,000 people every single day through a business that you have, through a book that you like wrote or anything like that. You are like living a very purposeful, meaningful life if you allow yourself to see it from this lens, versus I'm not living my purpose if I'm not making money, if I'm not loving on somebody, if I'm not like, you know, building some gigantic impact and donating money and like working for a nonprofit or like, you know, helping with nature conservation, whatever it is, like purpose doesn't look a certain way. Purpose is going to look differently at every stage in your life. It can look different literally every single day. I know for myself that when I'm having a challenging day, when I'm going through a challenging luteal phase, for example, because I experience PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoria disorder. And during my luteal phase, it is like my brain is hijacked and the world is terrible, right? Like I have so much negative self-talk. I have so much self-doubt in my mind. I like question things. I ruminate on things. It is like a quite challenging mental process to go through every single month for like a week to up to 2 weeks before I start bleeding. Now, I've learned how to cope with that and manage it pretty well. I know what I need in those times. And something like yesterday, for example, I was on a coaching call that I feel like I did not do very well in. I felt like I was stumbling over my words. I couldn't really like even piece together my own thoughts properly. So then I was like doubting whether or not she was able to like see where I was going with things. And I think like when I zoom out, it's like it was fine. I was following my intuition. I was saying the things that needed to be said or that I wanted to say that I felt like was best to say. And I needed to just trust the process. And that's okay, right? I can have that perspective now, but in the moment and after, like for a lot of the evening, admittedly afterwards, I was ruminating on it. And then added to that, I go to dance class, and I go to dance class because I know I love it. I know I'm gonna feel good. I like it, just like it's so good to be in my body, especially moving after feeling like this angst inside of me, right? It's like really good to move that energy. So I go to dance class and it's really, really fun. It's a great choreo, but it's like comes time to film. I somehow end up in the center of like the group of 5 that I'm in. And if you know anything about dance, when you're center, when you're filming, it's like the camera's following you, right? Like you are literally the center focal point. And so it can feel like sometimes a lot of pressure. I've done a pretty good job of like just knowing that it's whatever, right? It's just for fun anyways. But I mess up half the choreo. And that on top of like earlier my call not going well, let me just say like it was a lot of effort for me to have my own back and for me to be kind to myself. I think the dance part, it was like a lot easier because I have a really pretty good mindset on that piece at least. But trust me, like I was like, oh, like that looked awful. I was really not feeling good about it. And when I watched it back, I was like just judging myself so hard on it. And this morning, I actually watched it back and I was like, oh, this is actually not too bad. Like this is fine. And I bring this all I bring this all up because for me, living my purpose every single day, right? Me feeling connected to my power. It is not attached to me having to make a certain amount of money, meet enough people. And I will get into this trap, especially during this luteal phase, where I will feel like I'm not living my purpose if I'm not helping somebody every single day, right? If I'm not doing some type of work that's like putting it out there, then I'm not living my purpose. And that's because in the past, I had really attached purpose to my work. But when I see purpose as like the truth of what it is, which is what I know, the purpose of life is to just be, is to experience it, right? It's to be yourself and as authentically as possible. That's me connecting back into my power, where I'm living my purpose as long as I'm still alive, right? Because the other thing with PMDD is that it brings up a lot of life-ending thoughts. And as much as I would love to be like, yeah, I never have a life-ending thought anymore, like that was something just like in the past, I have a very passive background noise every luteal phase that lasts anywhere between like 3 days to 2 weeks, typically around that 2 week mark. Before my cycle is when I start to get all that like self-doubt and like things start to feel a lot harder, like life just feels heavier. But it can get like really, really loud, especially the last couple days before I bleed. And so sometimes, right, when I bring up how purpose can change throughout the day or throughout your life, it's not even just in certain cycles of your life where, for example, right now you're a student and your purpose is in learning as much as you can and all that stuff. And then maybe in a future cycle, it's being a parent or whatever. It's literally like even every day, every week, there can be something different that's pulling you, that's compelling you. And like, how meaningful is it for me to be able to be connected to who I truly am, know that I am not PMDD. I'm not this diagnosis. I do not resonate with that. That's why I do not attach myself to it where I'm like, I have this thing. It's something that I experience, yes. And I experience it at different levels. So to me, it's like, that's not who I am. And what I care about is I care about my business. I care about my people. I care about my well-being. I care about my cat. I care about food. I care about just like music and like going to the park and like doing all these like fun. I care about fun. And because of all those things that I care about, it requires me to stay alive, right? So me even just choosing to stay alive as, whatever, how that comes off, is purposeful, is meaningful in itself. And I just want you to know that if that's something that you're going through, or you're just going through a lot of grief, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling uncertain, if you're questioning your value in this world, if you're questioning like whether or not your friends like you or your partner likes you or anything like that, if you're dateable, like if you're questioning anything of your value, just know that you don't have to question what your purpose is. You are here for a reason. And that reason is to bring your light to this world. And how that's going to look is going to look different every single day. It's going to compound the rest of your life to be this beautiful lightscape and this masterpiece that you'll be able to look back on. But don't stress about trying to figure out what your purpose is. Don't stress about having it to look a certain way or to have to know like this is the thing, because it's going to change, just like the way that you change your socks, right? You're gonna go through different phases, and it's okay. It's okay. You're doing great. Your life is meaningful. You have inherent value. And as long as you keep doing you keep doing your best and know that your best is always enough, you're living your purpose. Okay. I did not expect this little free-flowing thought session to turn into this conversation, but I'm really glad that it did. So I love you very much. I hope you stay well, and I'll see you next time.